Please excuse my haggard appearance and slightly scratching voice. I am not well. Anyways, story time. So I'm walking down the road on my way to a little school event when my corvid brain activates and spots something shiny on the road, and I'm like, oh, need pick up or else. And lo and behold, it's a tiny little nut. Not the kind you eat, but the kind that you screw on. The ones that you use to like bolt things together. I don't know, nut has different meanings. And like my nerdy self usually does whenever I'm walking there, I'm playing Pokemon Go. So the first connection that my brain makes is, of course, Meltan reference. And then it hits me that I could actually make a mini Meltan out of this. And when I say mini, I mean mini. You will see it when it's done. Also, very, 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 very important disclaimer. If you find things on the ground and decide to pick them up and take them home, wash the object and wash your hands. You don't know where those things have been. Be smart. Okay, whatever, tutorial time. The thing that inspired this project is this tiny nut that I found while I was taking a walk. I'm going to use this extremely tiny bead for the eye. Not sure how I'm going to attach it yet, but I will somehow. Gonna cut off some wire for its little tail thingy. Cut off a chunk of big boy clay block over here. I'm going to use both these paints as well as these slightly more metallic paints that I have never opened before. I've got my hot glue gun plugged in over here so it's hot and ready when I have to start assembling stuff. But right now, first thing I'm gonna do is paint the smaller pieces. Starting with this thing. It's gonna be a gold of some kind. I don't have a reference up right now because I just don't have room to put anything else on this table. Oh, that was satisfying. This is the closest color. Open sesame. Please? It took much longer than I care to admit to open that tube of paint. But once we were ready to go, I took out a small detail brush and started painting. You know, I think it might be smarter to only leave one layer on this thing so some of the shine can still come through, because these paints are not metallic like I expected. Like, the gray in this looks silver because of the label, but the paints are matte, so can't really do much about that. While I wait for that to dry, I'm going to take so tiny you can't even see it bead and turn it into an eye. I am fully predicting that this is going to fall off several times during this process. I'm gonna probably have to like edit in an eye falling off counter at some point. I know I said originally I was only going to do one layer of paint, but some places needed an extra layer. Alright, we're gonna make an attempt to put the eye in the guy. There is a chance that you're gonna see me burn myself today. No! Do we have it? Will it stay this time? Only one way to find out. Nope. I'm just gonna not touch it and I'm gonna cut that stuff off later. I'm not risking it. I'm also unplugging this thing because it's starting to worry me with how much it's steaming. Next, we're gonna mold some clay into a little body. It's really just a blob and oh. Well, it's gonna get painted over anyway. Okay, so this was surprisingly the most frustrating part of the entire process. I completely overestimated how much clay I was going to need to make the body. As you can see in the official art of Meltan, the ratio is almost exactly 1-to-1 head to body, and I did not realize that as I was making this. So I had to keep sticking the head on temporarily to see if it looked correct, and it just never did. I had to keep taking off clay several times until it worked, and this took a very, very long time. Eventually, when I did get it, I was honestly amazed at how small it actually had to be. I stuck on the arms and they were just tiny droplets of clay. I smoothed them out, and then I set it aside and marveled at its tininess. So, little fun fact about the clay that I used for the body here. It doesn't dry at all. I've tried various different methods. I've let it air dry, nada. I've let it bake. It only caused a melty mess in our toaster oven. And I don't really have any sealant other than clear nail polish. This is the only thing that's gotten anywhere close to working. So it's just always gonna be slightly malleable, I think, but I'm pretty sure that the combination of the paint and nail polish will give it just a little bit of protection against the elements if I were to take this thing anywhere, which I should not have a reason to. We'll see. Before I did that, I cut off the piece of wire that I was going to use for the tail. I also stuck a hole in the body so I knew where it was going to go when it was done. And then came the paint job. It was much easier to open up the tube of gray paint than it was the gold, by the way. So much easier, paint started squirting out right away. And there was a lot of it. I only really needed one layer to do this. I also painted over the wire in red. The original paint job actually came off and needed to be redone. Man, don't fail me now! Having said my prayers, I added the layer of nail polish for sealant, and it dried super duper fast. I attached the tail off camera, and as you can see here, I'm hot gluing the head onto the body. And finally, after a day of work, we're done! Moment of truth. The little guy stands at a height of, oh my god, less than 1 inch. That converts to about 2.5 centimeters for people who use metric. Oh my god, that's tiny! Here it is! A very, very small little figurine of Meltan. Oh my god. It is literally the size of this part of my pinky finger comparison. That is how small I had to make this for it to be proportional. The paint job is chipping a little bit already, but to be honest, it gives it character. I like it. So cute. I want to name it, because it feels like a cute little guy that should have a name. Okay, Comment down below name suggestions, if you have any, because I feel like he needs one. He, she, they, it. Also comment pronoun suggestions. So yeah, after that, I have so much more respect for people who make miniatures like as a job, or as a very intense hobby, because that was difficult. It required a whole lot of precision that I was absolutely not prepared for going in. And I did this all in one day, somehow. Those guys take, like, weeks sometimes to make things. And man, that is such an admirable art form, now that I'm thinking about it. Alrighty, that's all I got to say. Like and subscribe and do whatever you feel so inclined. Okay, thanks. Bye. Can it, like, wave its tail goodbye? I can barely see it. Yeah, bye-bye.